Virgo, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for early to mid March 2026. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business, as always, and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we can dip our toes in the energy and see what's happening for the lovely Virgo collective. Hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. My guide, spirit team, talk to me. What do we got for these beautiful Virgos in early to mid March? It's Pisces season, beautiful time of year. What energies, messages, insights can we take a little peek at? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card. Then we'll get into the full reading itself. And at the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Virgo early to mid March. What's the energy? What's the vibe? Let's get this card out nice and quick. And yeah, it jumped right out of my hands. I'm not sure if you saw that. That one did like 3 flips. So we have the Helping Hands card, which I do love. This is a really great card. And just like with everything, there's multiple layers, there's multiple ways we could look at this. But I just love the spiritual insulation and protection that I get off of this card. Now, before we fully dive into it, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the March subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, you know, I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, back into the reading. Let's talk about this card, and it does show up from time to time. If you look at the imagery here, we have this lovely lady. It looks like she's having herself a little nap, taking a snooze. She is surrounded by these hands, and we have this little circular ring of golden light protecting her. So, first and foremost, we already mentioned it, huge when it comes to spiritual protection and spiritual insulation. Whether you feel it or not, it's like we're with you, we're helping you. And that's something I really like. So, whether it's guides, spirit team, ancestors, it's like I'm not on this journey alone, or I'm being helped through something, which is really great. Now, this card can also tie into altered states of consciousness, deep state meditation, reprogramming the subconscious mind, anything where you're really going internal, even prayer. So I love this for the inward connection that I pick up. Another portion of Virgos, when this card is here, maybe you need a little more rest. If you've been running yourself ragged, burning the candle from both ends, feeling pretty tired, this is spirit saying like, all right, Virgo, you need to just take a minute, take a breath. So I do like this for rest and recuperation. And yeah, again, with the helping hands, don't be surprised if there is somebody that requests assistance from you, or maybe you need a hand, right? Nothing wrong with that, but we're just going to leave it at that. We'll let her keep taking her nap. Do not disturb, right? Let's get into tarot. And yeah, I always say that first card, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 tarot cards in the upright, and we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Shuffle it up one time here for the beautiful Virgos. What do we got? And while we shuffle this deck up, let's talk about last week's reading. Pretty positive energy last week. It was titled Big Win Incoming. And I always say when it comes to wins and victories, yeah, they come in all different shapes and sizes, right? Like sometimes it could be monetary, sometimes it could be work, sometimes health, sometimes interpersonal relationships. But to me, it just felt like a very positive energy flowing towards the collective. So I hope you were able to collect a win. But just know it could still bleed over for a couple weeks. We're going to see what shows up this week. As you know, energy is very fluid, never set in stone. So only take this how it hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or somebody else, right? Let's get it going. 3 cards for my beautiful Virgo friends. What do we have here in early to mid March? Cool. World. Ah, okay. That's a heavy card to start with. Not necessarily bad. I don't want anyone to get like freaked out by it. I was just expecting something a little softer. And then the world comes in like, whoa, all right, that's intense. Let's get a couple more. Let's see where this goes. Okay. Okay. Page of Wands, communication, action moving forward. So I like where it's going. There is this transition or change that I'm picking up, which could be really good. Let's get one more here. Maybe it's a similar theme to what I've been seeing in the other Earth signs, where it's like so many people. Okay, you're going to have a bonus this week too, but we have another very intense card. We got the Devil right here on the back end. Don't get freaked out by that card. Okay, it's just an energy. And then your bonus is the 3 of Pentacles. So we have a good amount of Earth energy here. Let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes, and we'll get into that juicy, intuitive stuff. But at first glance, we have some powerful stuff here, my friends. Now, as far as the elements go, it is earth heavy. There's a lot of outside energy from what I'm picking up. And I think it's important to always look at the elements because it tells us how things are flowing or the areas of life that could be important. Now, we do have the world. I look at that as just overall major arcana energy. We're not going to give it to one specific zodiac sign, but this is a powerful theme. We have fire and earth predominant showing up. Now, when it comes to earth, that is your power element, right? That's your comfort zone. When I see a lot of earth energy, it could represent day to day life. It could represent feelings of stability and security. Think of routine. It could be money, work, finances, investments, home, and family. So when I see earth, I think of the material world that we exist in. Uh, that's a good thing. But the downside to earth energy, sometimes it could be a little heavy. Sometimes it's an energy that doesn't move at the speed we want it to. So we'll need to keep an eye. In the center, we have some fire. That's the realm of action. So that's the thing that these two elements share in common is they're both things outside of ourselves. So when we have swords and cups, that's the internal world. All this energy is outside of us, outside of our control, potentially. Now, with fire, again, it's the action. Actions we take, actions other people take, actions we want to take, actions we decide not to take. Think of health, vitality, energy levels. Fire can represent passion, drive, desire. It's our motivation, our power to push forward. The downside to fire, it could be a little unpredictable. Right? Like it could take a left on us. There's a certain volatility to it. But let's go through and start building this out piece by piece. Position number one, we're starting with a very dense card. We have the world. Now, I'm just going to break down several different things from every side of the angle. The world is the last of the major arcana, so classically it can represent endings or the close of a cycle. So it's like we're starting with an ending. Now, it's not like a Ten of Swords ending. Like to me, this could just be the run of the mill changes and transitions that we experience in life, right? To me, it's not like dead end. To me, it's like we close one page and open another. So we're going to need to look at this much further. It's highly, highly spiritual. This could represent evolution as well. So for a lot of you that are on some sort of journey of evolution and moving to the next level, this is a great card for that. It's a completion. It's something finally coming to fruition. So that's a good thing. Um, it could represent the world today. So for those of you that are energetically sensitive and I see the world, it's like, oh, what's going on in the world today could really be affecting you in a lot of different ways. So it's super important to guard your energy, protect your energy in whatever way works best for you. Now, this card, in its rougher sense, can sometimes also represent things looping back around. Remember, it's a very karmic card, so it can represent the cycles of life. So in its roughest sense, it's like, here I go again, or here we go again. There's something that seems to be returning or looping back. So we'll take a look. Now, moving to the center, and yeah, it can mean other things. To me, I do think of the world itself um, as a big thing. This is also the material world. So to me, a lot of this energy showing up could be either outside of you or outside of your control. Now, moving to the middle, we got the Page of Wands. I like pages, the big fire sign energy. So Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, if you're not connected to a fire sign, pages are fresh, they're new, they're youthful, they're very vibrant. So I like it. They're all students and messengers. So could this be a talk or conversation? Absolutely. Could this be an action that someone's about to take? Sure, it could be that too. Um, the thing with the Page of Wands is that there's so much that it wants to do, so much that it wants to accomplish that sometimes it could spread itself too thin. And that's where we get to the downside of this card. It could represent wasting one's energy or putting too much energy into something or not having the proper focus with something. Again, I'm not saying to you, it could be somebody else too, right? So burnout is a big thing with this card. But again, it could just be a conversation or an action being taken. So we'll look into that page more. Now, moving to the back end, we have the devil. Okay. And I did break this card down a couple months ago for my channel members because the devil, although the symbolism is looking a little scary, it's not all bad. There's a lot of in-depth stuff here. And similar to the earth suit itself, I'll give you the positives. This is the card of the material plane, the material world that we live in. So it's like we have the world and we have the devil. There's like all this stuff that's like floating around us. The devil's great for money. It's great for finances. It's great for abundance. That's a really good thing. Very stable energy. But when we get to the downside of the devil, it could be a lot of things. This could represent habits. This could represent jealousy, toxicity, attachments, problems, like various different things. jealousy, obsession. I think I already said that. Addiction is a big thing with this card. It could even be like thought loops or mind habits that we want to look into further. Again, it could just be a Capricorn, right? Because of the goat symbolism. Not saying the Capricorns are all those things I just said. They have the goat symbolism. So we'll want to look into the devil more. See, like, all right, is this a problem? Is it a situation? Is this something new? Is this something that's older? On the very back end, as we get to your bonus card, we have the Three of Pentacles. This is one of my cards of work and career, groups of people. So whether it's family members, co-workers, this is a collaborative type of energy, similar to the Helping Hands card that we had in the beginning, where it's like, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. So I think it's good, unless we're looking at someone else's energy here. But I want to dive deeper on all of it, Virgo. Let's do it. Let's jump in and clarify. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here. Let's see what's happening for my Virgos, please. And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on the world. Oh, and yes, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. You know, if you have a message you want to give to Virgo, you could just drop it down in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, let's get this world card out. Yeah, the energy's intense. Very intense stuff this week, Virgo. So why is the world here for my good friends? Thank you. Yeah, so just like I was saying with this card, it could be something that loops back around. So we have the Eight of Cups in reverse. Now, normally the Eight of Cups, when it's in the upright, it's an energy that's moving forward. So when I see the Eight of Cups in reverse underneath the world, it's either something where I feel stuck, where it's like, oh, I'm here, I'm stuck here. This is what it is. So hopefully it's not a situation or something that you appear is just never going to change, because that could be part of what we have going on here. But at the same time, it's a return of something, because the Eight of Cups, remember, it's taking action, it's going forward, it's pushing further. In reverse, it's either not going anywhere or it's looping back around. So in this time, especially with the devil here on the back end, again, I'm not saying this is something terrible that's going to come back in. It could be anything. It could be a thought process. It could be a situation where you've dealt with something similar. It could be a person you haven't heard from in a long time. World, Eight of Cups in reverse, it's like, okay, I'm revisiting this. So you look at it through whatever lens you're looking at it through. Again, it doesn't have to be a bad thing, but it's either an energy that's not really changeable, or at least feels that way, where this energy is like lodged, where it's like, it's here. We're going to keep moving forward. Let's see what the Page of Wands has, because now we get to the action. But we're going to see what the page has. Then we'll do a quick little look at that devil. So what's the page here for Virgo? Yeah, watch out for a whole variety of different things circling back on you. Or, okay. Lady Justice. Slow and steady. I like it. All right, so this is also a very karmic, cyclical type of energy. I like the new approach. So Lady Justice, Libra, if you're connected to one, or if you have Libra placements, she could represent fair and balanced type of energy. Watch out for anything legal or contractual, anything you're putting your signature on. When I see this energy together, and I feel like I saw something like this for you a couple weeks ago, where it's like, there's something about karmic energy, and it's still here all over the place. But Lady Justice is kind of just letting something flow, and there is this new approach to it that I feel like. So if we are talking about action, forward momentum, movement, whatever label we want to put on it, it's moving forward in the right way, but it's tackling something with a bit of a different strategy. So when I see this energy in the front, this thing popping back up, or this unresolved energy, when I see the Page of Wands with Lady Justice, it's like, all right, let's try this from a different angle, or let's try a different strategy here. So there's that energy all over the place, and I feel like it's good. I just really want to see what this devil is that we're working up to as well. But I like Lady Justice. And again, for those of you dealing with any like legalities or anything you're putting your signature on, be cautious, read it multiple times. Again, that's something I've been saying for weeks now for the Virgo Collective, but we're just going to keep moving forward. It is action. It is forward movement. Could be a combo. We'll see when we get to the devil if I have any chit chat here. But to me, it's more about taking a different approach. It's not the loop back or the stuck feeling I'm concerned with. It's like, okay, that energy's not bad, but you might need a different strategy. So let's think outside the box, right? Let's see what the devil has. So why is the devil here for my Virgo friends, please? And we'll do our recap before we get into the shadow. So why is the devil here? Thank you. Again, this energy is just very difficult to shake. This energy is very, very difficult to shake for some reason, like it's gotten under the skin. So we have the Six of Cups. This feels like unfinished business or an unfinished situation for sure, especially with what we had in the front, what we have here in the middle, where it's like, yeah, but I've tried everything. Why am I getting this result? Um, I think it's important to really just maybe shift your perspective about a situation or problem. I know easier said than done, right? But the Six of Cups is one of the cards of history, past memories, soul ties, soul connections. It could be that as well. So when I see this, it is a strong attachment to a person, a situation, or an outcome. But it feels unresolved to me. When I see the Six of Cups in reverse, it's very similar to the Eight of Cups to me, where it's like something's looping back around. So especially under the devil, where it's like, all right, I was stuck here. I'm taking a different approach. Then why does it still feel incomplete? Where I feel like there's something that's unfinished. I do. And we all have that to a certain extent, but this does feel pretty big for a lot of Virgos. So there's a variety of different ways that you could seek assistance for it if you need it. I mean, I'm not telling you you need assistance here, but this energy just feels very much unresolved for now. And it's not always going to be that way, but we have that unfinished, unresolved energy showing up in a big way. So let's go through and do a quick recap. Then we'll get into the shadow real quick. If you kindly look in the box, very similar themes this week, and it trickles with what we've been seeing for the past couple weeks. But position number one, we have the World with the Eight of Cups in reverse. To me, it feels like an energy that's on a treadmill or running in place, where it's like, all right, I feel a little stuck here. Nothing's changing, nothing's moving. So reality might not be showing you much results with something. Another big thing here is a return of some kind, and it makes sense, especially when we pair it with what's on the back. So there could be a thought process, a situation, anything that could like really loop back to me. It feels like the door is open for something to reemerge or at least revisit it. Maybe some of you, that's advice from spirit, like, hey, maybe you need to revisit this. Because when we get into the center, we have the Page of Wands with Lady Justice in the upright. Revisit it, but in a different way, or take a different angle. I think that's really important. Think outside of the box with your strategy. The same resolutions and ways that you might have used in the past, you might need a different route to get the optimal result. But aside from that, I feel like it's taking action from a good place. There's something here about just letting something flow and not putting too much expectation. This, to me, also watch out for legalities, anything legal, anything you're putting your signature on. Been saying that for weeks. On the back end, we do have the devil with the Six of Cups in reverse. Yeah, there is something here that feels unfinished or unresolved. So it could be something major for some of you. Maybe it's something minor, but normally when something like this is sticking in the energy, it's like, no, it needs to be revisited for a reason. Whether we realize it or whether we don't. So I have this strong unfinished business here on the back end, where it's like I thought I would feel better, but this energy is still here. So please take a screenshot if you want to look into it further. Let's see what's in the shadows. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here. See what's going on for the beautiful Virgos, please. And yes, I always like to pull one shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge, they could be a good thing. So let's get you one. And yeah, if you made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel, and I have much love for all my channel members. Okay, let's get this shadow card out here. What do we got in the shadows for Virgo, please? Thank you. Nine of Pentacles. All right, that's not necessarily a bad one. Usually this is great for like blessings and abundance. But when we look at the shadow side of the Nine of Pentacles, it's very reminiscent about what we got going on here, where it's like I'm in a cage or I'm trapped, I'm stuck. So watch out for cabin fever, or watch out for feeling like you don't have a lot of movement for some reason. And if you look at the imagery in this version, because it is a shadow deck, we have like this bird and it is in its gilded cage, right? Like that's some striking symbolism that we have going on here. So like the good thing about it, it's like, yeah, no, it's solid, it's stable, it's good, it's cool. But the energy also feels like it's not making progress. And I know when it comes to earth signs, if you don't feel like if you're not moving forward, you feel like you're moving backwards. And this energy to me just feels very stuck in the muck for some reason. So again, in this time, it could be something as minor, just having cabin fever, or needing to shake up your day-to-day routine. But someone's feeling a little stuck in the muck. We're going to leave it at that, Virgo. That's what I have for you this week, my friends. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details of the March subscriber surprise. If you would like further insight into your situation and you'd like to have a chat with me, you can book a personal session with me at my website, mastermetaphysics.com. The March calendar is live and spots go quick, so you could go check that out. But for the March subscriber surprise, we're doing another winner's choice. I will choose 3 subscribers to win either a copy of the Everyday Witches Tarot, beautiful deck, or handmade crystal pendant, which I showcase at my website, mastermetaphysics.com. So if you'd like to get your name in for that, it's 2 simple things. As always, my friends, first, you must be subscribed. And second, let me know down in the comments, what zodiac signs do you get along best with? Which ones are your favorite? You'll be entered to win. And at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my community tab. As always, my friends, much love, and I'll see you soon.